Alright, just woke up, brushed my teeth, getting ready to go to work, and we're gonna go ahead and take a look at this. We know there's an enhanced risk for today, and oh boy, it's gotten even larger. That's what she said. Oh boy. Oh dear. Good morning, YouTube. Tire Metalhead Weatherman here. Hopefully, you guys are doing well. So, things have gotten even more interesting since yesterday when I first touched on this enhanced risk here. We're actually looking at a decent chance of this being upgraded to moderate risk now. And as you saw on the map, the probabilities have definitely become even more notable. The severe weather threat is even extended further to the south. It's going to be a big time squall line from the looks of it. I mean, it's kind of seeing a preview of that yesterday, but now there's even greater confidence in that. A lot of modeled agreement on it as well. And even that 45% area that we started to see inklings of yesterday is now expanded. We're seeing this getting further into Northern Virginia now. We still have DC and Baltimore in there as well. And now we're starting to get parts of southern Pennsylvania as well, too. Not a hatched risk right now, but wouldn't be surprised if we get one. Usually this does end up getting a hatched risk once we get to about 45, but kind of hard to tell what's going on there. The hail threat is still pretty minimal at this point here. I'm not really too concerned about that. Of course, we still have the slight risk going on over towards the western high plains, mainly for hail. That's probably what we'll see a little bit of as well today, but for the most part, the big story is going to be, of course, the enhanced and, well, while not a guarantee, in high likelihood of moderate risk. So let's go ahead and get into the model data here. We have this very robust low pressure that's going to be coming into play here throughout the day today. And it's going to be set up in such a way where we have a lot of wind energy from 500 on the southeastern flank of that. And I've said before in the past, whenever you see something like this, you can at the very least be looking for damaging winds here. The forcing isn't super strong to start out with, but it does kind of ramp up throughout the day. There is a chance that we could also see some prefrontal cells, but I'm mainly anticipating a very big squall line developing that pretty much spans from pillar to post here. When I say pillar to post, I'm really just inferring that pretty much from New York all the way down throughout the southeast could see a line of big time thunderstorms, all of which could have wind potential and maybe even a few tornadoes as well as we go throughout the afternoon and into the evening here. We will see some daytime heating, especially towards the south, but what concerns me most is when I look at the low-level jet here at 850 millibars. Look how this ramps up as we go closer into the as we go closer towards the afternoon into the evening, so to speak. See two distinct pockets right here. This is the first one. This one's towards my area, maybe just a little bit further to the north of it. And then the secondary area, which is where that 45% area exists. Then eventually we start to see this low begin to really deepen at the low-level jet region as well. So there could be an additional pocket that could flare up over here towards New York as well. It's questionable as to whether or not it makes it that further north, but in turn we could also see an increased tornado threat over here as we even get close to New York City at this point. So a lot of interesting stuff going on before the setup actually occurs. But nonetheless, though, I definitely see my fair share of signs that this could be a pretty big day. We don't even need to discuss really what the dew points are going to be like. They're going to be more than ample, more than favorable enough for severe weather. And as that low deepens, you'll actually see the moisture getting pulled in from both the Gulf and the Atlantic itself even, as we see that counterclockwise spin right here. So let's go to the simulated IR, infrared satellite, or IR, and we'll see these storms begin to form a little bit closer to lunchtime here. We're currently in the early morning hours at this point, but by about 20Z, which would be about 12 to 1 o'clock, that's when the southern sectors begun to form. And just a little bit after that, that's when the northern edge begins to form as we get towards 6, 7 o'clock. Then as we get towards 8 and beyond, that's when we're going to probably see some of the most severe weather. And then after that, we'll probably see the Carolinas coming into play here. You can tell that these are going to be bigger storms based off how bright the colors are or how darker they are once we get towards the end here. The brighter the colors, that means the colder the cloud tops, which means the storms are going higher up into the atmosphere. I don't really use this map as much. I do intend to use it more in the future. There is another variable that does come into play with this, and it's cloud cover. If we get a lot of diurnal or daytime heating with this, we could be in some real trouble here. And it looks like there is a good clear slot that develops across this region. Wherever you don't see the blue, that's clear skies. Where we see the heavier blue color here, or thicker blue color, that's cloud cover. And you can see off the opacity, this is up to about 100%. It varies in some spots, but this dark blue here, look at that, almost 100%. Getting towards a couple of clear blotches right here, we're at about maybe 65, 74%, varying numbers. But nonetheless, though, this is right around 17Z, just before lunchtime for a lot of us in the East Coast, so definitely need to be on the lookout for that. When we look at the parameters themselves, we'll look at mixed layer cape to start out with. We quickly begin to become very unstable before lunchtime. Across the southeast here, we're seeing plenty of streaks where we're at about 3,000 joules per kilogram, even in the mixed layer at this point. And instability is going to eventually start to build its way northeastward. Cape values aren't going to be quite as high, but even then, like I said, this is the mixed layer towards the surface. The cape values are a little bit hotter. So we have this spot up here that we just looked at over towards mid-Atlantic. This has a surface cape of nearly 3,000. Mixed layers at about 2,000. Given the parameters we have available, decent low-level shear. Directional shear is kind of lacking, but overall, this is a solid tour sounding here. No question about it. There's also great potential for downdraft as well. D-cape at a 1275 here. The numbers are pretty good for some significant severe weather, and even maybe some significant hail here, as the significant hail parameter is above 1 here, and we have some hail analogs above 2 inches as well. So, like I said, it's a prime atmosphere for severe weather here, so it's going to be an active day. I'm probably going to be stuck at work right around, or leaving work right around the time things really start to pick up. If I can blast home, I will, trust me. But I'm going to be keeping an extra close eye on this. If I see anything while I'm out at work today, I'll definitely have pictures to post on here if I can't go live at the very least. So you'll get to see me doing, well, not really any sort of real chasing. It's going to be more partial chasing. I don't have the money to do that. Here's severe sounding over towards where I live, by the way. Great downdraft potential, incredible downdraft potential, actually, based off of the humidities here and also the D-cape here at 1492. So, like I said, very prime atmosphere, a lot of energy in here as well, so could make for a very interesting and potentially dangerous day. So let's make sure we are staying weather aware here, folks. One other parameter I'm going to look at before we look at the reflectivity here, of course, will be the bulk shear. And this is going to be a key component to both our damaging wind and tornado threats here. We don't see it in a wide mass here. It's more so in pockets like we talked about earlier, especially where that low-level jet exists. We have this pocket here, which will end up going through the southeast, and then here's our mid-Atlantic pocket right here. There are a couple other pockets to keep an eye out for, like this one up here, a little further towards the northeast. I did see a model late last night before I went to bed of even Boston being under the gun here. So we'll look at the reflectivity last but not least, and we'll call this one a video here. So here we go. This is, like I said, right around lunchtime is when these storms start to develop. It would be right around 3 o'clock when things get going for us. And then things really start to jump off over here towards the mid-Atlantic here. There's a couple of storms that pop off towards the northeast here towards New England that could potentially hamper things, but shortly after that, here comes that main line. And like I said, we always have to watch out for those prefrontal storms. By the time we get towards 9, 10 o'clock, that's when these storms will be knocking on the doorsteps of Boston, clearing their way from New York, and then there's going to be a secondary round of rain to follow. So the flood threat also will be notable as well. We'll take one last look at that, and we're on the way out. So as of right now, thankfully, it looks like we're only dealing with a slight risk for excessive rainfall. So flash flooding threat, while it's not super high, and this could probably change, it's not a worst case scenario, that's for sure. We've seen plenty of rainfall over these regions, but we have had a little bit of time here to dry out. But nonetheless, there's still over 53 million people under the gun for flooding here today. So let's make sure, like I said, whether it's severe weather or it's heavy rainfall, let's make sure we're staying weather aware. But that's it. That's all I got for you guys in this video. If you enjoyed it, you know what to do. Smash that like button, decimate that subscribe button, and also hit that share button. Definitely looking for more subscribers right now as we are getting very close to 500 here. Appreciate everyone here that's been here from the get-go, and yeah, I gotta get going though, so I'm not gonna really talk at you too much longer. This has been Metalhead Weatherman. I'll see you guys in the next one. You take care. Again, stay weather aware and have a nice day.